The night didn't feel special at first. It was just another evening wrapped in soft air and fading sunlight, the kind that slowly disappears without asking for attention. But something in the atmosphere felt different, like the world had quietly decided to slow down just for us. I remember noticing how everything seemed softer, the sounds, the colors, even the way time moved. We were walking side by side, not too close, not too far. There was an invisible distance between us, filled with unsaid words and quiet anticipation. Every step felt like it mattered, like we were moving towards something neither of us had the courage to name out loud. You laughed at something small, something I can't even remember now. But I remember how it sounded, light, effortless, and real. It stayed with me longer than the joke itself. It made me realize how much I wanted to keep hearing that sound. The sky above us was turning shades of gold and purple, as if it was putting on a show we didn't ask for but somehow needed. It felt like the perfect backdrop for a moment that hadn't even happened yet, but was already waiting for us. There was a silence that settled between us, but it wasn't awkward. It was the kind of silence that feels full, like it's holding something precious inside it. I could feel my heart beating louder than usual, like it was trying to say something before I could. You slowed your pace just a little, and without thinking, I matched it. It was such a small thing, but it felt like we were already in sync, like we had been doing this forever without realizing it. Our hands brushed for a second, just barely. It was accidental, but it didn't feel like a mistake. That brief touch sent a strange warmth through me, something I couldn't explain but didn't want to lose. I looked at you, and for a moment, everything else faded. The world around us blurred into nothing, leaving just the two of us standing in a space that felt separate from reality. You noticed me looking, and instead of turning away, you held my gaze. There was something in your eyes, something honest, something unguarded. It made my chest tighten in a way that wasn't uncomfortable, just overwhelming. Neither of us said anything. Words suddenly felt unnecessary, like they would only complicate something that was already perfectly clear without them. The air felt warmer, or maybe it was just me. I could feel every little detail, the soft breeze, the distant sounds, the rhythm of my own breathing. Everything was sharper, more alive. You stepped a little closer, closing the gap that had been between us. It wasn't rushed or forced. It felt natural, like the next step in something that had been building all along. I could see the small details now, the way your hair moved slightly in the wind, the softness in your expression, the way your lips curved just a little as if you were about to say something but chose not to. Time seemed to slow down in that moment. Every second stretched out, giving me space to feel everything fully, to understand what was happening without needing to rush through it. I felt nervous, but it wasn't the kind of nervousness that makes you want to run away. It was the kind that makes you want to stay, to see what happens next, even if you don't know where it leads. You lifted your hand slightly, hesitating for just a moment before letting it rest gently near mine. That hesitation said more than words ever could, it showed that you felt it too. I took a quiet breath, trying to steady myself, but it didn't really help. My heart was still racing, still trying to keep up with everything I was feeling. You smiled again, softer this time, like you were sharing a secret with me. It made everything feel more real, more certain. There was a moment where everything hung in the balance. It could have gone either way. We could have stepped back, laughed it off, pretended it was nothing. But we didn't. Instead, you leaned in just a little, giving me enough time to understand what was happening, enough time to choose. And I did. I leaned in too, slowly, carefully, as if moving too fast might break the moment. Our eyes closed almost at the same time, like we had practiced it without knowing. And then it happened. The first touch was soft, almost hesitant, like we were both making sure it was real. It wasn't perfect or dramatic. It was simple, but it felt like everything. There was a warmth in that moment that spread through me instantly, something deeper than just the physical closeness. It felt like connection, like understanding. Time didn't just slow down, it disappeared completely. There was no before or after, just that one moment stretching endlessly. It felt like the world had paused, like everything else had stepped aside to give us space. I could feel your breath, your presence, the quiet rhythm of something new beginning. There was no rush, no pressure. Just a gentle, unspoken agreement to stay in that moment for as long as it lasted. When we finally pulled back, it wasn't sudden. It was slow, almost reluctant, like neither of us wanted to leave that space. I opened my eyes and saw you looking at me, and somehow everything had changed. Not in a loud or dramatic way, but in something deeper, quieter. There was a new understanding between us, something that didn't need to be explained. You smiled again, and this time it felt different. Warmer, closer, more certain. I couldn't help but smile back, even though I didn't know what to say. Because honestly, there was nothing to say. The moment had already said everything for us. We stood there for a little while longer, not moving, not speaking, just existing in that shared silence. It wasn't awkward. It wasn't confusing. It was peaceful. Eventually, we started walking again, but something had shifted. The distance between us was gone now. Our hands found each other naturally this time, without hesitation, without doubt. And when our fingers intertwined, it felt just as meaningful as that first kiss. Maybe even more. Because now there was certainty. Now there was something real to hold on to. The world around us started moving again, the sounds, the lights, the passing moments. But inside, everything still felt quiet and steady. Like we had found something rare in the middle of an ordinary day. Something we hadn't planned, but somehow needed. I realized then that magic doesn't always come with noise or spectacle. Sometimes, it's found in the smallest moments. A glance, a touch, a quiet step closer. And a kiss that changes everything without saying a single word. That first kiss didn't just feel like magic. It felt like the beginning of something I didn't want to end.